calls the U.S. like whatever department,
tells them all that all of her people are dead or whatever. And then I don't know who she's talking to, but somebody asks her, "Where are your friends?" And she's like, "They're all dead."
Where are your friends?
They're dead.
And it's just like so matter of fact. She does not care at all. Hello and welcome back to the 173rd episode of Good Bad or Bad Bad, the show where I watch terrible movies, tell you if you should too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Schlock, joined as always by the other host, Mr. Kyle Henn. Kyle, good morning. Happy Saturday.
Yeah.
We got an interesting movie today.
It's kind of competent.
Where are your friends?
They're dead.
Kind of good. Kind of good, but it's also kind of ridiculous, I think it should be fun to talk about.
I may have selected this film just because this kid blows up from a landmine.
Kyle saw the opening 5 minutes of this movie and was like, child death? Sign me up. Amazing. The movie is 1996
or 7?
Something like that.
Sweepers.
Dolph Lundgren in the explosive international thriller Sweepers.
Dolph Lundgren. We haven't done.
I was gonna say he might have shown up in a movie we've done, but he's definitely never been the main character. I don't think he's even been in a movie we've done.
I know there's was it Big Trouble in Little Tokyo or something like that? Small. There's Big Trouble in Little China,
of
right?
Big Trouble in Little China, or a sequel?
It sounds similar, but it's not. It's a detective drama that stars Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee.
When we get done, we're gonna go eat fish off those naked chicks.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
It's pretty bad. We might have to do it sometime.
Well, that is not this movie. This movie, as you said, is Sweepers, which is I was very excited, though, when I started playing the movie, the New Image logo came up, and I was like, ooh, we've done some New Image movies. They tend to be terrible and fun.
Oh, yeah.
And this one is it's fun, but it's not terrible, but we'll get into the details of that. But I love the opening crawl on this movie.
Oh, my God. It's like, this is the worst. Like, there's ways you can show this.
It's just like in the 1990s or after the war, there was a rise in the use of landmines and blah, blah. It's like this scroll about all this stuff. And then at the end, it says an order of minesweepers arose to take care of
the new order of chivalry.
It's the humanitarian order of chivalry. And I looked to see if that was like a real thing. And that specific name does not exist as a real thing, at least that I could find.
The logo exists?
I couldn't find the logo because it's a great logo.
It's just like
it's like a Knight Templar, with like a landmine next to him or something like that. But I assume it's based on like a real thing. But I don't think this specific name or whatever they came up with is not a real thing.
I also enjoy how it's a cheaply made film from the 90s. We better go film in Angola.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they shot on location. They're definitely filming somewhere, not in the U.S.
Not our only Angola Civil War movie.
What? What are we?
Mercenary Man.
Oh my God, that was Angola?
Yes, it was.
He's a mercenary man. Mercenary man.
I don't remember. I don't remember anything about that movie other than the song. It's the only thing I recall from that film. And speaking of songs, the opening song in this one kind of good. It's I don't know, it's good.
Angola es tan bella, tan rica y tan linda.
There's so much about this movie that works.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of it that doesn't.
Yeah. It's like a lot of competent filmmaking mixed with punctuations of just ridiculous moments that are like, what is okay? But the opening song really sets the atmosphere, in my opinion. It's a pretty good song. But then we cut in and we're in this, in Angola, I assume. Again, the thing explains that there's a lot of landmines in Angola because of a civil war there or something like that. And so that's where this order is, diffusing mines, basically, as like a humanitarian effort.
And doing a unbelievably terrible job at it.
Yeah.
Because they're just driving tanks and stuff around an active landmine field that Dolph Lundgren is actively poking for.
Yeah. To be fair, the tank does have the landmine feely like explodey things on the front. That's a thing. They put those things on the front to trigger them, and then like the front of the tanks the explosion, and it's fine for the most part. But the thing that was crazy to me in that scene is Dolph Lundgren is walking right next to the tank that is doing the thing.
All the shrapnel just gonna...
It's like if it were to hit a mine, Dolph Lundgren would just be shredded, but he's fine, I guess. But he's like a master mine diffuser or whatever is the idea.
He got the high score in Minesweeper.
Yeah, absolutely. So he walks up, and then we're also introduced to Bruce Payne's character.
Good, Bad, or Bad alum, Bruce Payne.
Yeah, what was he in? I couldn't remember.
He was
I
in
scrolled
No
through his
Contest
IMDb,
2.
but he's in like 8,000 movies. No Contest. Oh, that's right. Yes.
I'm trying to think. I think there was one more he was in.
For sure, at least one other one. I was like, I know I've seen this guy in several movies we've done, but like I said, his IMDb list is 1,000 movies long. So
especially in the 90s, he was in like everything.
And also the other thing is a lot of the movies we do have different names. Like they're released under different names sometimes. So like what's on IMDb isn't necessarily what we watched it as. So it can be a pain to find them. But anyways, so he shows up. And they're discussing like landmines or whatever, and right away you're hit in the face with the fact that almost every bit of dialogue in this movie is
80-yard
horribly, which is not uncommon for a lot of dialogue in movies to be 80-yard, but in this one it's very obvious.
I don't know, but MAG said it worked great in Cambodia. You want to go for a ride, Ace?
Well, I hate those damn things.
Like the crazy thing is like Dolph Lundgren is originally from like the Netherlands, right?
Somewhere in that region.
But like, I know he has like at this point he's been so desensitized to American culture. He has his own American accent. Yeah. But it seems like he was like dubbed in a weird way.
I mean, he might have been. Sometimes it felt like he was dubbed, and other times it didn't, and I couldn't tell. And I think he speaks English. He's like a genius, right?
Yeah.
I think I've heard he has like
a master's in chemistry,
like some sort of advanced chemistry degree, and is like is like incredibly intelligent. Apart from being like a macho movie star,
but in this he just has like generic American accent number 2 or something.
More potty worms. Second best thing for a hangover.
I couldn't tell if it was actually him or not. I had the same thought, especially early in the movie. I was like, I think that's him, but I'm not sure. But there's this great 80-yard line at the beginning here where Bruce Payne is like talking about the landmines, and he's like, well, it's a real piece of ass. And the way it is dubbed in feels so weird, and it's like...
All laid in a 15-meter radius from the well. It's a real piece of ass.
And the sad thing is, like, I could tell that was Bruce Payne, like, actually doing his own dub and everything. And it's like, boy, this guy, in addition to most of everything feeling phoned in, Bruce Payne did the most phone-in job.
He's just there. He's just like, he has no personality. He has no, and we'll get to, because there's a big reveal of this character later that comes out of nowhere and makes no sense.
He's a lot of, the check cleared. Yeah, you got me.
Yeah, all right, I'll just stand here and say whatever you want.
Rogue landmine. Being made and sold by a third world country that can't even keep its own shit straight.
Me too. 100% his ADR lines were all first take. Whatever came out, no matter how much it matched with his what he was saying.
Bruce, you wanna take another stab at that one?
No, fuck, that's it. Sorry, how much did you pay me again? Do you want to double that?
I am Bruce Payne, okay? I was in passenger 57.
Well, let me give you a word of advice.
Always bet on black.
I will do a second take if you double my pay. One take for one amount of pay. That's it. Oh God. So they're walking through this minefield, and I could not figure out. All of a sudden, Dolph Lundgren just stops and is like, "Don't move." Did he smell that landmine? Yes. He like looks over and is like, "There's one right there. I can sense it."
He's been genetically modified to smell explosive, like explosive dogs.
Yeah, I couldn't. He's just like, wait, and then he like. And then he also like tiptoes over to it, like he knows where other mines are.
There's other humanitarian workers ahead of him.
Yes, I was like, what is happening? But then he gets over there and he crouches down and he does this thing, which I assume they researched and is a real way that people like dig up landmines or whatever. Because he uses his knife and he
just like pokes in at an
gently pokes it in with his hand on it, and then he can feel it hit the metal, I guess, or something like that. But there's not enough pressure to set
we get a great like metal clink sound effect as well.
Tink. Yeah.
Murder, she wrote.
But then he finds that mine, and Also, as he goes over there, Bruce Payne follows him, and he goes, "Watch your step, Doc." And Bruce Payne responds by saying, "Which one?"
Watch your step, Doc. Which one?
I don't know what that line means. What do you mean, which one? Like every step? Like,
Yeah.
what?
We're in a landmine field.
Is this a joke? Is it a joke that I don't get what the punchline? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. But anyways, while he's defusing this mine, an entire army sneaks into their camp. Also, we forgot to set up. His kid is here.
Yes.
In the country with him, but two, when he said goodbye that morning, the kid snuck into his Jeep or whatever, his Land Rover, and like snuck to work with him, and so is like hiding in the back of the Land Rover, basically. So all that being said, so now the army shows up, and these are like rebels or something.
Yeah.
They say an acronym
Some
that I
guerrilla
don't
faction
know.
or something like that.
But these guys just start killing everybody.
And like the people that they're killing, in addition to just being labeled everywhere humanitarian effort, they also have the UN.
Yeah,
the
some of them are
helmets.
UN people, with the UN helmets, and they just start getting murdered by this group completely.
Is not going to help.
Not going to end well for you guys at all. And then he, I could not figure out, and we'll talk more about it, but he. So everybody starts getting killed. Everybody starts getting killed.
Yeah.
Dolph Lundgren just pulls out his gun and starts shooting at everybody,
taking zero cover, zero precautions.
Also, not even aiming half the time. There's a shot where he's looking behind him, shooting his gun, and I was like, "What is happening?"
He's just that good of a shot.
Yeah. But the guy, they have that tank with him, like you mentioned, and the guy in the tank. In the turret gets like killed or whatever. And so Dolph is like, I gotta get in the turret. I gotta take him out. And he goes running for the turret. Meanwhile, his kid is like freaking out because he's in an active war zone.
People are dying around me. There's Dad. I better go to Dad.
Yeah. So he goes, and meanwhile, mortars are going off everywhere. It's like chaos, absolute chaos. And then his son hops out of the car and is like, I gotta get to my dad, and starts running straight across the mine. Straight across the fucking minefield. And Dolph Lundgren is like, no! Johnny! Oh, also, we did see, he discovered before, just to set this up, he discovered a weird mine that he had never seen before. That was like an important little detail. While he was looking at that other mine, he sees this other one that's really like weird looking. And
the other
thing, I don't know what this is.
With how this mine works, I'm wondering why it went off.
Because, it doesn't make any sense because we'll get to it, but especially because Bruce Payne was like, at the end is like, it was an accident. He wasn't supposed to be there. It's like, well, then why did it go off? It doesn't make any sense.
Johnny, he wasn't meant to be there. It was an accident.
Anyways.
Yeah, but anyway, so we'll talk about why in a little bit when we introduce the mines and everything. But his son's running through the field, and obviously you can see it coming a mile away. His son just gets fucking exploded.
In the arms of the angel.
Just fucking vaporized.
So good.
I say vaporized. He looks almost unharmed when they show his body. He's like a little bloody.
Oh no.
But he gets absolutely vaporized. And Dolph Lundgren is obviously very sad about all of this. And then...
But we have no time to mourn. We need to cut to 5 years later.
Yeah, we got to... 5 years later. So then we cut to 5 years later, and I think we're in like New York or something. Yeah.
And there's a lot that you can tell there was a lot of this scene in particular that they either couldn't save, they had to cut down for the sake of time or something. Because they have some form of terrorist organization who has kidnapped a senator. Mm-hmm. And they have him held hostage, I'm guessing, at his home or something like that.
Yeah, it's hard to... it doesn't really say. They don't really establish. But they're at some house in the middle of nowhere, it seems like. Yeah. And there's like SWAT teams like everywhere.
The only reason you can tell there was some stuff that was cut out beforehand is because half the terrorists look like they're wearing like waiter attire for this party.
I missed that entirely.
Yeah, they're like all wearing these red blazers.
Are they? Yeah, then there must have been more going on here that we just never get explained because we cut in like right in the middle of this.
Yeah, they all have
situation.
really shitty bags on their heads and they have their machine guns and stuff. It looks ridiculous. So they have him hostage for reasons. None of this is ever explained.
Senator Shepard is his name, and he's going to be running for president, they say.
Inside that mansion is Senator Mitchell Shepard, the man most likely to be our next president. He must not perish.
Anyways, but he's being held hostage. Also, I love there's a shot, there's like a helicopter hovering like right over the house, like on top of the house. And I was like, why is that there? What is the plan of, I don't know. Anyways, so they start moving these guys in. Also, there's this woman there who's like, we find out later isn't like FBI. She isn't part. Why? I don't know why she's there, because she's like a designer of landmines.
And also, there would be no reason for her to be there at all because they didn't know that there were landmines.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why she's there, but she is there, and then all the SWAT team people start going in.
The crazy is like it's ATF, which makes sense, but then they have like FBI field agents that are just like, yeah, you'll be part of the assault team.
Yeah.
The point being is they were just like, just throw some ATF and FBI letters up there, and we'll be like, that's the tactical team that goes in.
Yeah, I have no idea, but they go in, and there's those special landmine we saw earlier is in the yard, and they get fucking blown up or whatever.
They just keep getting blown. They got blown up.
Yeah. But then I guess they successfully save him because it just like cuts.
Yeah, it cuts and
Senator's fine.
We're fine now.
He's in his office or whatever.
He's got some stitches.
And he's like disheveled looking, but he's like fine in his office. They're talking about the landmines that were in his yard or whatever, and he's trying to figure out like where they came from or what they are. And again, the ADR in this scene is just atrocious. He has this line where he's like, "Jesus wept, son," and I'm pretty sure that was dubbed because he said like Jesus Christ, and they changed it because it's just like, oh, we can't have that for like to get a PG rating or PG-13 rating or whatever. I don't know, whatever.
Jesus wept, son. What are you telling me?
But anyways, then they have this meeting. She's there. Michelle is her name, who's like the landmine designer or whatever, I guess.
She designed, I think she said it was like either the GPS tracking or like something that determines when somebody is in proximity of these mines.
Oh, that's the part she did? Yeah. I know she says the landmines have that. I just didn't remember what part of it she designed or whatever.
Michelle Flynn. I created the PTC for Lewis.
But she explains that it's a smart mine because Lewis there's a guy named Lewis who I don't know if we ever even see. Unless
you're right.
Unless Bruce Payne is Lewis.
We show an image of him and he's wearing like a Grateful Dead t-shirt.
Yeah. But anyways, they say this guy Lewis is like the guy who was either designed the mine and she helped him or something like that. But it's a smart mine that's invisible to landmine detectors and bomb sniffing dogs. And also it has some sort of GPS technology tracker that can sense people coming and you can blow it up without them stepping on it.
A personal tracking device. An electronic brain that allows the ASICs to track any approaching target.
Yeah, and it doesn't have mechanical parts. It's electrical.
Fully electronic is also the thing. And then so Lewis apparently had this woman help him create it, and then Lewis fucked off and disappeared to Angola.
As you do. As you do.
Intelligence last traced him to Angola, home of the rich UNITA rebels.
And then so they're sending her to Angola to figure out how these landmines got used by this terrorist group or why or something. I don't know why they're sending her necessarily, but they basically have her sign a slip of paper and then hand her a pistol and they're like, have fun. And she's like, thanks.
She was like, ooh, a handgun, thanks.
Yeah. They also explain that Dolph Lundgren, there's this guy named, I think it's they explain that there's that if she meets up with Dolph Lundgren, I think that he's like the #1 mine diffuser, but that his they said
boy's talent for finding landmines is exceeded only by his complete lack of discipline.
Why didn't you show us that in the open? He seemed pretty restrained in the open. He didn't seem like a loose cannon or whatever.
No, and also those two things don't mix well.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, he seemed pretty like, I don't know, like calm, cool, and collected apart from when his son got exploded. But speaking of that, why the fuck was his kid in Angola, Kyle? Why would he bring his child to a war-torn country that he's going to go defuse landmines in? I don't understand why he brought him. Worst parent ever.
Look, we're in Angola. It's a civil war. You might get malaria, but here's the thing, Johnny, it builds character.
It's like, what did you think was going to happen? Of course your son fucking exploded, idiot. Oh my God. Okay, so then we cut to Angola again. She has now arrived in Angola, and we're in this bar
with her like specialized team.
She has like a crew with her of like bomb diffusers and stuff like that. And they're in this bar, and Dolph Lundgren is there,
getting his ass beaten, just
in a fighting ring.
Yeah. They do like betting all the time in Angola because I guess there's
like
a
civil war going on. They just do whatever they want. Yeah. And he has like the Wild West tied together for some reason.
Yeah.
I guess to like maybe he can win more money if he wins with his hands tied together. I don't know. But also then we cut and they show this guy on the phone with a beard that I thought because we see that guy first. I thought that was Dolph Lundgren. He looks like Dolph Lundgren with a beard.
To me, he looked like Nick Nolte.
Oh, really? Because I thought he also looked like Anthony Head, Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, except like with a beard. He looked apparently like a bunch of different guys, but he's this Australian guy who's like, we find out is like the evil mirror image, I guess, of Dolph Lundgren, because he's also like a mine expert or whatever, or something like that. It's very strange.
Your shipment won't be affected, I'll give you my word. It'll just cost a little bit more.
But Dolph beats this dude's ass in the death ring.
The death ring?
And then chugs a beer, because he's an alcoholic now, we have to establish, since his child died.
He's also a mercenary man.
But his child died, and his wife left him, I guess after the kid died or before, I'm not sure.
You let our son die in a war-torn foreign country.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was before or after, but anyways, doesn't matter. But there's this great montage right after this scene of like him drinking and defusing mines. He's just like chugging things, and then it's like him defusing a mine, and then him drinking more. He's just walking around like getting lit with children. He also is like in this bar with a kid, and they're like drinking.
Yeah, there's
together.
like this kid who just like the second that, what's her name?
Michelle,
the second she lands, this one kid is like, I have to
I escort you around and help you, and like
I don't say anything.
No, I will not speak a word in this film. I probably doesn't speak English, because it seems like they're filming on location, obviously, and I think a lot of the people were like people from that area, at least like extras and stuff like that.
I'm trying to think. Angola, is that Spanish? Is that one of their main languages there?
Oh, I don't know what language they speak. It's in Western Africa, but I don't know what language.
But like they were being in Mercenary Man, they were being funneled weapons by Cuba. So I'm assuming that was
I don't know.
Spanish.
I don't know if we ever hear them speak anything other than English. Yeah. I'm sure we do at some point, but I don't remember. Because like they mostly speak English because they're mostly interfacing with like Dolph Lundgren and stuff. Yeah. But anyway, so he's just walking around and defusing mines, getting drunk with kids.
I would have loved to see where he like finishes off the bottle and he just chucks it behind him and it ignites one. He's like, missed one. That would have been fun.
That would have been fun. Yeah, it would have been fun. He does miss one though. We will find out in a second. Then we cut to her. Again, they're looking for this special mine. Her and her like tactical crew are out in this field.
They give like a description of it. It's got like weird butterfly wings.
Yeah, it's like it forms like almost like an X kind of shape or whatever. It's got like spikes coming out of the side. But they're looking for that. And they find like a random mine to explode in the meantime. And these two guys are down and like in the field, and her and this other guy are up watching, and they blow up the mine, and then the guys on the radio won't answer, and they're like, oh shit, did they die?
Miss Flynn?
What does your popper look like?
It's made of Kevlar and shaped like a butterfly.
And then they finally get a hold of them, and I guess blowing up that other mine somehow exposed the super mine was right next to them, because they're like, oh, they won't answer, and then they're like, what does that mine we're looking for look like? And she explains or describes it, and they're like, I think we found it, and it's like right next to them.
Well, that
like,
was quick.
How did you? Okay, I don't understand how the mine going off let them see that, but whatever. And then I'm dying because they defuse it.
So ridiculous. They fill it with. They do the old fashioned way of diffusing.
Yes.
what's the inerting mines, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
you fill it with foam and then the foam hardens.
Yeah, and it keeps the mechanisms from triggering or whatever. But they do that, and then she's like, well, it's electric. There aren't like mechanical stuff moving in there.
The A6 is electrical, not mechanical.
She's right, Jack. Put it away.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, it'll probably be fine. They're like, I guess it's fine. And they're like playing with it.
And her next thing is,
I forgot my jacket. I'll be right back.
Chicks. Crazy, all of them.
oh, I forgot my jacket. And the second that happened, I was like, oh, these boys are dead.
I was dying too because they're like juggling it. And then the guy's like, hey, we don't know that that's safe. Why don't you put it away? And he sets it in the helicopter right next to all of them. And I'm like, wait. Okay. And yeah, as soon as she walks away, you're like, well, those guys are fucking dead. And yep, mine goes off and they all explode and die. So she's now alone in Angola. Those are the worst. Those guys were fucking terrible. They were so bad. Then we cut back, and it's like later that night, and we just got to watch Dolph Lundgren get drunk and do a minefield foot race.
Yes. God, with
him and the Australian guy, Jaeger is that guy's name, the villain, one of the villains. And they're like doing this race through a minefield. And at the end of it, Jaeger gets ahead and then starts pulling all the flags out. So that he doesn't know where the mines are. It's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious.
But he loses all of his blood diamonds. Dolph Lundgren loses all of his blood diamonds.
Yes, he loses his blood diamonds, and he ends up losing the race, and he's very upset about that. And the Russian or the Jaeger just kind of disappears, and then we cut the next day.
Was it the same night where that kid steps in the landmine, or was that later?
No, it was the next day.
No, because she has to find him.
Yeah, it's the next day. And she
calls the U.S. like whatever department.
Tells them all that all of her people are dead or whatever. And then I don't know who she's talking to, but somebody asks her, "Where are your friends?" And she's like, "They're all dead."
Where are your friends?
They're dead.
And it's just like so matter of fact. She does not care at all. Oh, no, that's what. She's in the bar. I think it might be that night.
Yeah. She's
talking to Dolph Lundgren.
No. Is she talking to him?
Yeah.
Okay, but she's being very loud. I am here to find a secret landmine that is experimental.
I came here for one reason, to find that damn landmine.
She is, yes, she does yell that on the phone in front of all these people at one point, yes. But then at some point she goes and is sitting at the bar with Dolph Lundgren, and they're like chit-chatting, and he asks where her friends were because he saw them yesterday.
Oh, right.
And then she's like, they're all dead. And he's like, no, that sucks. Anyways, and she's like, so you're pretty good at defusing mines, right? I hear you have 20,000 mine kills confirmed. And
Christian Eriksen, 20,000 mine kills confirmed.
Like, is that what they call it? Do they call it mine kills? Because I feel like that would be the other version. Like, you planted the mine and it killed somebody, but I guess not. And then also, meanwhile, the other Jaeger and his henchman guy kidnap the guy who was like the guide for her, like the local guide, and they like make him walk into the minefield and kill him. It's very sad. It was like, oh God, that's terrible.
Why is she looking for my landmines?
No.
I'm just the guide, man.
Yeah. Then it's the next day, and this is where that kid just randomly drags her to Dolph Lundgren's house.
Yeah. Okay. So she's making a call to the U.S. saying like, "You need to get me out of here. These people are dead." And they're like, "Yeah, we can get you an extract in like 2 days or something like that." And then people who are looking for her because she blabbed about the landmine are now at her door. And she has to like climb out of the building and shimmy down a pipe.
Yeah. So she climbs out of this building, gets down a pipe. The kid takes her to Dolph Lundgren's house. Also, we're introduced to Old Mo, who is Dolph Lundgren's like buddy or whatever. Who's this old guy who likes smoking a pipe and hanging out, and they're like friends. It's not
those weird larvae.
Yeah. What do they call them? I looked it up. They're like a real like food. It wasn't like the movie didn't just like make it up. I can't remember what they're called. There's some sort of moth larva or butterfly larva or something like that.
Wapani worms. Second best thing for a hangover.
Apparently very nutritious.
I imagine they're high in protein.
Yeah, it was apparently very nutritious. But they're like hanging out, and then she gets there and she meets that guy, and then she's trying to basically convince Dolph Lundgren to help her find this mine or whatever.
Look, I lost my son because of mines and working with the UN. So obviously I'm a broken man.
I'm a broken man. I can't do it anymore.
Angola is the wild fucking West now. And it's gotten that way all by itself.
And he's like, look, Angola's the Wild West now, and it got that way by itself. And she's like, nah, I kind of helped by making these horrible landmines. And it's like, yeah, okay, fair enough, lady. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
No, it didn't. I helped. That popper that I tried to show you, I had a hand in creating it.
But clearly he's dealing with PTSD because like we constantly get flashes of like like anytime anything happens, like we'll flash back to him like seeing his dead child's body or whatever. It's very sad. But anyways, these kids are playing soccer and they kick a ball into like past the fence where it's like, you know, don't go out there. Yeah. And the kid goes out there and gets his leg fucking blown
right
off. Christ.
They did a pretty good job with the prosthetics and everything with this. Like, unless they actually found
I say they might have just had a local who had their leg blown off by a landmine. That's like incredibly common.
Local Angola casting. Do you guys have any children with missing limbs?
I honestly would not be surprised if that's exactly what happened.
Oh my God.
I don't know, but it would not surprise me at all.
It could just as easily be fake. Dig a hole, patch over it.
Yes, it could be. But I was to say, it would not surprise me if they just found somebody. But anyway, so this kid gets his leg blown off, and then Dolph Lundgren comes over and picks him up, and again, he has like a PTSD flashback.
He's like, I was picking up my dead
boy,
son.
My boy! I left my boy. I abandoned my boy. Anyways, he picks him up and like he's like, and then she's like, so will you help now? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, wait how does triggering his PTSD like convince him to help you? I feel like if anything, it would make his everything worse. Like I don't know. And then I was like cooking up conspiracy theories because he was like,
I swept the field yesterday.
Now will you help me?
I just swept that field yesterday and didn't see a mine. I'm like, she planted that mine. She did it.
She needed to convince you.
Yes, yes, she planted that mine to convince him to come help her. I was like, absolutely.
But they had to take this kid to the only doctor they know who could save him.
Dr. Bruce Payne. Dr.
Bruce.
I don't know his character's name in the movie.
I like that idea. Dr. Payne.
Dr. Payne. But anyways, he's treating him or whatever, and they have like they talk for like 10 minutes and are sad about landmines or whatever, you know, whatever.
Rogue landmine being made and sold by a third world country that can't even keep its own shit straight.
Then we move on from there, and they're going to. He takes he takes her to the place where his son died because he knows that landmine was there. Maybe there are more there or whatever. And he's like, I haven't been here since my son died. And he opens up his flask to drink, and then he's like, no, I can conquer these demons.
I'm slowly becoming a better man.
Yeah, he's like, I can conquer these demons. No.
After watching that poor Angolan boy get his leg blown off, I'm past this now. That's the crux I needed to overcome my alcoholism.
What are you afraid of? Heights? Flying? Polio? Whatever your fear, it's time to face it.
Having an incredibly traumatic re-triggering of my PTSD, I am now cured. It's like, wait, what? It makes no sense, but okay, sure. But he like takes them into this minefield. And she's explaining that he's like, well, this killed my son 5 years ago, that kind of mine. And she's like, well, they were still being tested. They weren't deployed then. And he's like, well, where better to test it than, you know, there's a war-torn country that nobody cares about or whatever.
Exactly.
Gee, I wonder where to find a place to test a new kind of landmine.
And she's like, oh, shit. But anyways, they find one. And they're like, oh, don't worry, it's not active because it's not beeping or whatever.
Yeah, and also, like, when would it have been installed here? Was it 5 years ago?
Yeah, you would think.
How does it hold a charge?
It's got a very good battery, Kyle. I don't know. Maybe it's geothermal powered or something. I don't know. But He finds it and nothing happens, but then a helicopter shows up and it's the people that are chasing her, and I guess they trigger it. I don't know who.
Yeah,
triggers
it starts blinking and stuff.
Yeah, it starts going off, and then he's like, "Give me a countdown," and she starts counting down because he says there's 15 seconds before once it triggers or something like that, and then it goes off.
Give me a count.
What?
I said, give me a count.
And he's like, okay. And she doesn't really tell him what to do.
No, she would know how to defuse
Yeah,
it.
you would think, right? But she doesn't really say anything. She tells him some stuff before when they find it, but when he's going to defuse it, apparently all you need to do is
just turn the dial.
Turn the dial, which seems real easy.
And also, why did you need a countdown for that? Why did you need to
why
wait
didn't you do it
all the way till the end?
Why wouldn't you just turn that dial?
Yeah.
It makes
no, we need tension.
Yeah, she gets to like 1 second, and then he turns the dial, and it goes up. I'm like, oh, you didn't? Oh, okay.
Dolph,
did she not know that? Because earlier when they used the phone, why didn't she? Did she want them? She's out here killing all these people on purpose, Kyle. I think she's a serial
100%.
killer. I think she's a fucking serial
Dolph,
killer.
you're gonna turn that dial. No, we have to wait.
We have to wait until 1 second, so it's more dramatic. So they stop the mine, they throw it in their bag, but now the helicopter's shooting at them because, of course. Great moment though in this is he shoots the guy in the helicopter. She's trying to start the car and it won't start. He shoots the guy in the helicopter. The guy falls out, lands on the hood of the car, and hitting the engine starts the car, that's good. I liked that a lot. That was fantastic. But then one of my favorite little details in a thing that makes no sense is they kill that guy. Helicopter flies off. They drive away. The helicopter lands and picks up another guy and then goes after them. Why wouldn't they just have both guys in the helicopter already, Kyle? Because there's room in the back.
Or if
for
you were going
people.
to have a team for a ground assault, why didn't they attack them? Why the guy in the helicopter?
Why wouldn't he
was
also?
attacking?
Yeah. Why was there was just a guy waiting in the wings in case that first guy got shot? I guess.
All right, Jerry, you're going to be over here in the pitch. All right, now if Todd over here just happens to die, that's where we're going to swing back and pick up you.
Yeah. He's like the 75th minute sub in a soccer game. He's like coming in fresh or whatever. It's like, what is happening?
Hey, guy just fouled out. You're up.
You're up, kid. Let's go. It's hilarious. But anyway, so they there's a big chase between the. Oh, you're leaving? Okay. See it.
Bye.
There's a big chase between the helicopter and the car, and they get to this big bridge, and they're driving down the bridge, and they start shooting grenades at them. But the grenades are clearly like water balloons filled with gasoline, because it's a bridge. It's just shooting flames. There's no like actual explosions. It's just like fire. You'd think it might like do some damage to the bridge or whatever. Also, the guy's a terrible shot. He never gets close to hitting their car with this grenade.
Well, they have that plot armor, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously. But anyway, so they're able to drive through the flames on the bridge and get away. And I don't remember the helicopter.
One of the helicopters crashes for reasons.
Is there two helicopters?
Yeah, there's two. There's.
Oh, I remember there being two.
I remember there being two because like one of them had Jaeger in it, and the other one was just also chasing. In pursuit.
I don't remember that. But yeah, anyways, they're able to get away, basically. I think there's like a car crash and they're able to like run away or something like that. But then they get back to their village.
I'm also convinced that Dolph Lundgren is just an awful shot.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He never seems to hit anything.
Terrible. Never hits anybody. He's absolutely terrible. But he's able to get. They're able to get away. They get back to their village, and it turns out, and we saw a little scene of this, but Jaeger showed up, and like old Mo was smoking his pipe, and Jaeger just grabs it. And then murders everybody, I guess. And like they massacre this town.
Yeah, it's like this little town that's just full of all these like shanty shacks
random
and stuff
people,
like that.
yeah.
Just lit on fire.
And like murdered half the people in the town or something like that. Including they burst through and he goes and he finds old Mo, and old Mo's like bleeding to death, and he's like, oh, and just dies. Again, I guess we just need more motivation for our character, so let's kill his friend or whatever. There is a pretty good shot though when he arrives at his house. They give this great. They were like, "This is the poster right here." It's like the doorway with like smoke behind, and it's night, and he like walks up and like holds a pose with the gun and like a silhouette in the doorway, like boom. It's pretty great. And at this point, I was still very confused at like what the plot of this movie was, because I don't know who was trying to kill Michelle and why.
Yes.
I think it was the people who sold the mines to the...
Well, when we start getting answers given to us, it's not even that it's far-fetched. It's just really stupid.
Jaeger here is going to torture you till I find out exactly what your operation was about.
It's real weird. I did not understand what was going on at all. I assumed that it was going to end up being that senator from the beginning was like selling, like back channel selling mines, and it was going to end up being him that was like the villain. But I don't think it is. I think it's just Bruce Payne's character, who again I don't understand what his whole deal is. He says money.
Yeah.
At the end, he's like, I did it for the money, I guess. It's just very strange.
That whole scene.
What?
That whole scene in that train car is just so...
It's so good. We'll get to it.
Me all along. Purely business, Ace.
But anyway, so now he decides it's time for revenge. So Dolph Lundgren goes and visits his son's grave and has a great line. He's standing there with his shotgun. He's like, "You be a good boy. Daddy's going to work." Just it's really good.
You be a good boy. Daddy's going to work.
But they know they have to go after Jaeger at this point. So they
start
track
searching
down where his place.
Yeah, I guess his place. Dolph Lundgren breaks in and is looking around, and then these two henchmen come in, and there's this like fight in his bedroom or something like that. And I love it.
The fight is so ridiculous. There's this guy who's like a foot taller than Dolph, which is
he's
impressive.
huge. He's a huge
because like
dude.
Dolph is like 6'5" or something
he's
like that.
He's a huge dude. He kills the first guy. He shoots through the closet and blasts the first guy, and then gets in a fist fight with the second guy. Or actually, the second guy starts shooting at him and missing at like point blank range like multiple times, and then his last shot clicks. I guess he was out of shells or whatever. And then Dolph Lundgren stands up, takes his hat off real slow, and throws it in the guy's face. And the way it's shot, you can see it just bounce off the guy's face, but they add a sound effect like he just got punched. It's like... and it's like...
No,
and
no,
like,
a hat. I'm stunned and or blinded.
No!
He's like,
no! Too many lumens!
Oh, God. But he ends up beating the shit out of that guy. And then he gets into a floor through ceiling shootout with another guy where the guy below is shooting up through the floor and he's shooting down through the floor. But then he realizes this ain't going to work. He drops his shotgun.
You know why? Because he wasn't like Steven Seagal and shooting that guy in the dick through the floor.
It's true. But he drops his shotgun, pulls out two guns, dives and slides down a staircase and shoots the shit out of this guy. It's incredible. It's fucking incredible. Man. It's so glorious. I was getting flashbacks to Stick Fighter or something.
Yes.
It's just so good.
He got what he needed, though. He got a map.
He got a map, which I don't understand this scene, though, Kyle. He then takes that map and he finds that kid. The kid is like at his apartment and he like pulls him through the window or whatever. And it's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I don't know. But he sits the kid down and he pulls this map out and goes, "Do you know this place?" And he points at the map and the kid goes, "Yeah."
Do you know where this is?
And he goes, "Do you know where it is?" And the kid goes, "No." And he goes, "Can you take me there?" And the kid is like, "Okay."
But he doesn't know where it's at.
He doesn't know where it is. And two,
do you know where this is?
You have a map. Why do you need the kid if you have a map?
Because we need to recruit this child into a dangerous situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, Michelle's been like kidnapped at this point, right? She was captured.
Yes, she got kidnapped at this point. Yeah, sorry, she got kidnapped, and then because he asked the kid, that's what he asked the kid. He asked the kid, "Do you know where they took her?" And he goes, "No." And then he shows him the map and goes, "Do you know this place?" And the kid's
that makes
like,
a little bit more sense.
Yeah, he goes, "Do you know this place?" The kid goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Can you take me here?" And the kid's like, "Sure." But again, you have a map, just use the map. But then they get there, and she's there, and I'm like, So what was he goes, do you know where they took her? And the kid's like, no. But he apparently does, because the first place he points at the map happens to be where they took her.
Right there.
Okay, amazing, great.
That is writing that it's there because the writer needs it to be there.
Yeah, it makes it's just nonsense. But then they get there, and then we cut down into the mine. This location that he was talking about is like a mine where they're building these landmines. I guess it seems like
it's or storage or something.
Yeah, there's a room with a bunch of mines and stuff in it. But they get down there, and she's being held hostage. Michelle is. She's tied up, and then she's getting beat up by Jaeger or whatever, and like interrogated. And then in walks Dr. Bruce Payne. He's a double agent or whatever.
Tiptoes lightly with rude surprises.
He's evil now, and I think his accent changed. What was his accent, Kyle? He was doing the weirdest. So many of his lines in this movie, I couldn't tell what accent.
I have no clue.
It's like a weird. I had no.
Your boy, Johnny, he wasn't meant to be there.
But the point being is now he's shrewd businessman Bruce Payne.
Yes, now he's just the villain. He's like, I'm evil. He's a mustache twirling villain now. It makes no sense. But anyway, so he's like, all right, interrogator, and then I'll come back down and get the answers of where Dolph Lundgren is or whatever, because they think she knows where he is. And then Bruce Payne leaves, and as soon as he leaves, she just pulls the gun out of the holster of the guy.
Yeah, and I guess
the worst.
I guess I'll give Jaeger credit. He actually gives a shit about his crew.
Yeah, he doesn't. I thought he was gonna let her kill that guy for sure.
Like, do it or I'll blow his brains out. And then that's where, if you show he's a real bad villain, he shoots him.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. But no, he's like, okay. He pulls his bullets out of his gun, sets it down. And I was like, woman, you need to kill both of them right now. Just shoot both of them right now. You need to shoot both of them right now. But she does not. She like backs out and runs into the tunnels trying to escape. And so now she's on the loose, but she's like down in this mine. And there's only like one way to get out, basically. There's like one elevator, essentially. So she's like hiding in the mines as they're all
unless you take the Dolph Lundgren approach and you go through a flooded mine shaft.
Yes. So what happens is Dolph Lundgren finds the back door to the mine, and it's just a giant mine shaft that he rappels down, although his rope is not long enough, and he falls like the last 20 feet and bounces through a fucking wooden table. But then he gets up, and he goes through this room, and there's a lake, like an underground lake or whatever, and he starts wading through it, and then he gets to a passage that's underwater, and he's like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, nope, fuck that, man. I'm sorry. She's dead. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can't do nope. But he's like, all right, and he just holds his breath.
You do not go spelunking without knowing what's on the other side.
No, the fact that he did not die is insane. But he goes under and he comes up, and I don't know if you notice this, but I'm like 99% sure he comes up into this passage. I am like positive it's the exact same passage that he came into initially, like the water.
Just reversed.
No, not even reversed. I think it's just further away, but the opening in the background looks exactly the same. And I think they just added, in the second version of it, when he comes up, there's these like black and yellow poles sticking out of the water that I think they added to make it look different. I am positive it is the exact same location as where he like just ducked under from, but they're like, nobody will notice. So he now gets there, and he's got to put all his clothes back on because he got all naked while he was doing his cave diving or whatever. And then there's this weird moment where he's standing there at the end of this tunnel. He fights some guys. He like kills some guys. He gets into a fight with a guy. He drops a giant like metal thing full of rocks on a dude's face or whatever. And then he's standing at the end of this mine tunnel, and he sees these guys come running at him. And he pulls out a tiny flashlight and points it at them, and then just stares at them, and then they just start shooting at him. He doesn't do anything.
Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What is he doing? He's being distracting.
Yeah, but then he like ends up diving away from them, getting away. Bunch more fighting, chaos, nonsense. He eventually gets into the room with all the mines.
There's a point where he's pushing a minecart and like firing his gun over it. That's really crazy.
That's after this. That's after he kills Jaeger.
Oh, right. That's when they're making their
escape. Yeah, but he goes into this room, and I was so anticlimactic because Jaeger is like the main like muscle villain. Like he's like the big bad. And they literally just stand there and look at each other, and he's like, and he shoots at him and misses, and then Dolph Lundgren shoots him and kills him. It takes like 2 seconds and is so anticlimactic. It's not even funny.
They give him a going away gift, a landmine that they just set next to him.
Yeah, because he doesn't die. He's just like bleeding out, and they set a mine next to him, and then they make their escape. And this is what you're talking about. He's going down the mine.
It's so good.
This is the thing. He is behind it, blind firing over the top of this mine cart, and every time he shoots, they cut, and he hits a random guy who kills him, and it almost felt like something out of Top Secret.
He also has just infinite ammo.
Yes, he has infinite ammo and perfect aim while not looking. He's literally can't see and is just nailing people like down the end of a mine tunnel. It's ridiculous. And also there's a great moment at the end of that scene when they get into the big room where he gets that mine cart to the end of the big room, and these guys are running in like a hallway behind them, and the first guy comes in, Dolph Lundgren shoots him, and then there's some other guys in the foreground that Dolph Lundgren shoots, and then there's another guy in the background that ran in behind the first guy who dies without anybody shooting him. He just falls over.
That's it's right up there with what was it, Dark Knight Rises, where they're doing that fight on the rooftop.
Yeah,
and then one guy's just like,
yeah, exactly. But anyway, so the landmine blows up in the mine and blows up everything. Everything explodes, but they get out just in time. Meanwhile, the kid had gotten onto a train
for reasons,
and also Bruce Payne is
this
on
is like
that train.
his private train or something like that.
Yes, and it's full of landmines that they're taken somewhere. I don't know, but Bruce Payne is also on that train. They go. And they it takes off, but they know they're on the train. So Dolph Lundgren's like, I got to get on that train. Stay here, baby. And he grabs a dirt bike and cruises off. And she's like, fuck you. And she gets in a Land Rover.
Ass and
grabs a Jeep and chases after it. But he's able to catch up with the train and ramps
onto it. It's glorious.
Great.
He goes full CJ Carl Johnson from San Andreas.
Yes.
All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
Lands on a flat car, sliding on.
And in that scene where he is sliding, you can see the little like tray with wheels that they were sliding him on, because they just messed that up and left it in the frame.
Absolutely. And he's sliding, shooting people on this train, and then it turns into an Uncharted action sequence.
Yes, it does.
It absolutely, where he's on this thing like taking cover, and there's boxes everywhere, and all these guys come out and he's shooting them on this train, which is it's a pretty fun sequence for sure. But then the kid gets grabbed by the doctor and taken into like the last car on the train or something like that, because the kid is just like trying to get somewhere, and the doctor just finds him and grabs him or whatever.
No one rides for free.
Yeah, and then he grabs him, and then he pulls the kid next to him on the train, and they're just.
Why does Bruce Payne keep making these quips like all over the place? They're bad.
Terrible quips.
No one rides for free.
The one that's coming up in a second is the worst, and it's not. I don't even think it's a callback to. We'll get to it. It's just a second. Anyway, so there's a big train shootout. It's pretty great. Then we get to the end. He kills everybody. He gets into the final train car with Dr. Bruce Payne and the kid, and I believe he disarms. Yeah, he disarms Dolph Lundgren somehow. I don't remember exactly what happens, but he's able to get him the gun away from him and is holding him off the train at gunpoint.
Yes.
Just shoot him! What are you doing?
And not only that, this is another thing where they totally screwed up something. In this scene where they're both like hanging over the edge of the train, you can see the harness that is holding Bruce Payne back so he doesn't fall out of the train.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
It's like a rope that's coming from his jacket.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. But he just yells at him, and again, it's the classic like villain monologuing for no fucking reason whatsoever.
Yeah, it was me. It was me all along. Purely business, Ace.
And also, like, they're supposed to be yelling because they're next to they're in a moving train, but then the ADR they're like, Bruce, we need you to yell this scene.
Yeah.
But like not too bad because our microphones are kind of like they can't pick up that much.
They can't handle that. Yeah, they can't handle that dB level. Yeah, but eventually Dolph Lundgren falls out, and we get like an Indiana Jones moment where he's like hanging from the train, getting drug or whatever. He eventually gets back up into the train, and again, what's his name is doing nothing in this.
Nothing.
Bruce Payne is just standing there like waiting.
Wow,
okay,
he got up here. Okay.
Once again, he stands up. He's still alive. Bruce Payne still has a gun. will not shoot him, but finally does shoot him. But before he does, he says the dumbest fucking one-liner in the history of maybe, other than some of the ones in Catwoman, maybe. He says, he stands up and he's pointing his gun at him and he goes,
"Angels can fly because they take themselves so lightly."
Angels can fly because they take themselves so lightly. What? Boom! And then he shoots him. It's so stupid. And then Dolph Lundgren falls over. He's like, "Oh no, I'm dying." And again, he's just monologuing more. He doesn't shoot him again.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, did that hurt, buddy?" Well,
yeah.
What? Okay. What?
Did that hurt, buddy?
But they're in the, just a reminder, they're in the train car with all the landmines. So Dolph Lundgren, as he's like hunched on the ground, like, "Oh no,
and
I'm
because
dying."
of these really weird butterfly designs, he opens it up and he's like, "Ninja Star!"
He ninja stars a landmine into Bruce Payne's chest, Kyle. It's fucking amazing. Look, that's incredible.
God.
I'm sorry, because then it cuts to Bruce Payne. He just has a landmine sticking out of his chest.
So ridiculous.
It's incredible. And then it blows up. They're like 4 feet from it.
Yes.
They're in the same train car.
They're in the same train car.
Right there. Sure, whatever. But they're fine. But then it starts going off, and then they're going over a bridge. His landmine starts setting off all the other landmines, but somehow they're able to jump out before being completely vaporized. They land in the water, swim to shore. What's her name? Michelle's waiting for him there. We get an Indiana Jones hat moment where his crocodile
like,
Dundee hat is.
Look, Dolph, I know that 5 years ago you lost your family, your son got blown up by a landmine, your wife left you because you let your son get blown up by a landmine. But we're gonna go ahead and give you a wife number 2
and a replacement child.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You did it. Well done. And he puts his hat on, and they have a little one-liner, and they walk off into the sunset.
Thought you guys might need a ride.
Thanks, but this time, I think I'll drive.
I will say the explosion of the train on the bridge at the end is sick. Like,
It
they
is good.
clearly blew up something on a bridge at the end of this movie, and it's wild looking. But they walk into the sunset. Congratulations. Happy ending, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Yay. Nothing is explained how any of this actually wrapped up or what Michael or what Dr. Bruce Payne's like whole role in this was. None of it other than like
It's just like it was all about business.
it was about money. It's business. It's like, okay, sure, fine.
Your
Whatever.
son wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah. What? Okay. Just all right. Fine.
Okay.
Whatever. Fine.
That was the point we were going to make. It's that that mine blew up with his kid there, but like the mine is like triggered in a certain way.
It sounded like they said that it was triggered by specific you could like target it to a specific person.
Why was it targeted to Johnny?
Why? I don't know. Because that even makes less sense when at the end he's like, it wasn't supposed to be, your kid wasn't supposed to be there. It was an accident. So like he planted that mine.
It would almost make sense for it not to go off of Bruce Payne there because he could just be like, oh, it's got like an RFID chip that doesn't explode when I'm next to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but for some reason it goes off when a 6-year-old walks over it or whatever. I don't know. But anyways, that's the ending. This one's tough because
it's kind of enjoyable.
Yeah, I would say Good Bad because it's not a great movie.
No,
but it's also not classic Good Bad. It's just
there's definitely some quality issues with it that puts it into
like not
bad
good,
territory.
But it's also fun enough. I guess it is just Good Bad. I don't know what we're trying to qualify it so much.
I mean, you could be like me and just watch the first 5 minutes of shit blowing up and a kid stepping on a landmine.
Yeah, no, that part's great. That part, Kyle's favorite part, Kyle's favorite moment in cinema of the last 40 years was little Johnny stepping on a landmine. Fantastic. That's going to do it for this episode. As always, you can do us a giant favor by heading over to patreon.com/GBorBB. Support us there for a few bucks a month. Get access to bonus content and all kinds of good stuff. I have a podcast called This Film Is Lit where we talk about movies that are based on books. When this episode's out, our most recent episode will have been... wait, I know this. It is... Oh my God, my brain is...
Is it based on a book?
I will fight you. Oh my God. The Last Unicorn. The animated movie.
Oh, I know. Yes, I know The Last Unicorn. That was like... was that Franken and Bass?
Rankin and Bass,
Rankin Bass?
not Franken and Bass. Was that Frankenstein and Bass?
So that was Rankin and Bass?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I thought that was. Yeah. Man, there's somebody who's going to rip me a new one for Rankin and Bass.
Yeah. Yeah. Rankin and Bass, animated movie from the 80s with like Jeff Bridges and Mia Farrow in the voice. It's got all kinds of great, Christopher Lee.
The music in it's fantastic.
Yeah, I heard the music. I hadn't seen it before. Katie loves it. So we're going to be doing that. I think that's it. I don't have any time. All the other links for everything, TeePublic, all that good stuff in the description down below. Our battery's like literally about to die. So that's it. Until next time, keep watching movies, especially.
Yeah.
Check out.
Watch landmines blow up in Angola.
Destroy 6-year-olds. It's great. It's Kyle's favorite thing. Bye.